And now it's time for another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Great to have this gentleman back with us from the Providence Bruins. He's one of their assistant coaches. He is Kevin Dean. Kevin, Coach, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's a good time of year to be talking about hockey.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And you know, if you could do me a favor and just kind of like summarize a little bit how the regular season was for the Providence Bruins. I would imagine a little up and down.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. But you know, we had fewer downs than ups for sure. You know, I think we had one long losing streak of 5 or 6 games. But other than that, I think 2 was the most. And you know, we had a few good winning streaks, and I think that's important, and that's how you get into the playoffs. Is you minimize your bad streaks, and invariably every team gets on a few good streaks. But if you don't have a lot of bad streaks to counter those, you end up with enough points generally to get in, and we seem to do that throughout the year.
Now, we saw what he's done so far in the playoffs this year, but did a player like Seth Griffith really kind of like step up and become a player when it comes to the Bruins organization?
It is. That's a big, with Boston being out right now too. You got all eyes are on us right now, and every game, Claude Drilling's been, I think, at 3 of our 4 games, if not all of them, and the rest of the coaching staff as well. And so, these young kids have a lot to play for, and they're big games, and management in Boston, is looking how do players react in under the microscope in big games, and do they raise their game, or they're looking for all those the minutia of things that make players playoff players or not, and it's under the magnifying glass right now, and a guy like Seth is he scored the big goal the other night, and that's what you look for, guys that step up at the right times.
Yeah, I mean, and he played part of his season up with Boston, and then obviously some of the time down here in Providence. And when I spoke to him, in early April, it seemed like he had that right personality with, okay, I got to come down here and work because I know it's going to pay off, and I'm going to get the time up in Boston as well.
Yeah, and you're not guaranteed anything, but you're right. Your attitude's everything when you come down, and he's such a young kid. He's 21, maybe 22 years old, and they have to understand that, Boston's a pretty deep organization, and, he had some time up there, got sent down. I'm sure he was disappointed. And now it's a matter of coming down back to the American League and working on the things that, Claude and those guys identified up top that he needs to work on. And he has for the most part, just like every other young kid in his games, consistency lacks sometimes, but in general, he's done a nice job in working on the things he needs to work on, and hopefully that will be enough to push him into the lineup next year for Boston.
Coach, what have you guys learned the last couple seasons playing Wilkes-Barre in the playoffs? They're a very defensive-minded team. John Hines has done a great job, and his coaching staff there, in really coaching, the defense and team defense and everything. But what have you guys learned about your own team and the players by playing them the last couple seasons in the playoffs?
Well, you learn about the stripes and colors of your own players. Wilkes-Barre's I think John does a terrific job there, and they're physical team, and can a player through a 7-game series, and both the last 2 years it's gone 7 games. Do they start to wither at the end of the series, or are they still going strong? And last year you saw with Seth Griffith and Kolkachev and some of our younger kids that they were getting stronger as the series went on, and I think that speaks to the character of the kid. And it's important, it's important for the organization to identify, like, you watch Kolkachev over the course of that series, he was terrific in Game 7 after getting punished for 6.5 straight games, so, you learn a lot about your own players, especially, we know going in that team's going to be physical, they're going to be defensive, there's no secret there, and like I said, John does a terrific job, but you learn about your own players, and, can they sustain their game, are they willing to take hits, for 7 games or whatever it takes, and bounce back and contribute.
One of the players that, is on this team, he finished second in points for you guys in the regular season, Justin Florek. It's interesting about him because this is the type of guy that can, provide, obviously, the penalty, fights and things of that nature. But at the same time, he shoots the puck so much, and I think his game is only going to get better as he plays. And he's in his 3rd full year, but I think his 4th and his 5th year of playing pro hockey is really when he's going to start to excel.
It could be. You know, he's a bigger guy, and bigger guys sometimes takes a little longer to get their pace up and their skating down. And you can see a progression in his skating over the last 3 years for sure. Like you said, he gets a lot of pucks to the net. Sometimes I think he gets frustrated he doesn't score more. You know, scoring's not easy in this league, and you know he's not a natural scorer, but by virtue of getting pucks to the net, he can. You know, his pucks do find their way in for him. I think he had 18 or 19 last year. I think he had 10 or 11 this year. Mm-hmm. Not as many, but you know, like you said, I think he's the kind of guy where you know just a little bit of a tweak, or not even a tweak, but just a little confidence around the net. And I think he can take his goal totals into the 20s because he's around there a lot. He gets to the dirty areas. He's strong on pucks. He does a lot of things well. Like you said, he kills penalties terrific. You know, he's a guy that just a little bit of, a 10% boost in confidence, his game, just, go up exponentially.
I was just talking with Coach Gerard from the Utica Comets, and I'm going to ask you basically the same question. 3 seed versus a 6 seed, Hartford versus Providence. Yeah, it doesn't feel that way. He said basically you could throw all the numbers out the door and everything. These are all 1-goal games. I know, the last Wednesday game 3-1, but it was a 2-1 game before the empty netter and everything. So it's like you could take a 1 seed and 8 seed, play them against each other. They're going to play 1-goal games, and the best team is just basically going to win the series. And it looks like with you and Hartford, it's the same type of thing where these are all 1-goal games. You guys had the triple overtime game, and I mean, what can you say? You really can throw the regular season numbers out the door. It doesn't really mean anything. You guys are both playing each other like your number 1 seeds.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And we came down, I think, the week to go in the season, we were probably tied with Hartford with points, and
mm-hmm.
we had a lot of new kids coming to the lineup. We were playing different lineups the last, week or so when we knew we were kind of getting in. And, we probably, not probably, we could have got a 4 seed. We could have got a 7 seed. We're anywhere in there. And all the way from 4 to 7, those teams are interchangeable, right? So you don't know. Your bottom line is you're playing good teams every night. Teams that are 12 to 15 points or 12 to 15 games over 500. Teams that are coached well, teams that compete hard, have good goaltending. So you never know, right? It comes down to a bounce or two. It comes down to who's a little bit harder in the puck, in certain areas or whatever. And that's what's so fun about the playoffs. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not like basketball, right, where the 1 seed cleans up the 8 seeds every year. You know what I mean? There's always close contests in hockey, good series, whether it's a 1 and an 8 or a 4 and a 5, and that's what makes, in my opinion, playoff hockey the best playoffs in sports.
Oh, well, without a doubt. And I remember in 2011 when the Binghamton Senators won the Calder Cup, they were the crossover. So they crossed over. They were the 8th seed in the Atlantic Division, or however it was set up back then, and everything. So the other side, they were the 8th seed, and they made it all the way through. They had to beat a very good Manchester Monarchs team, and that's just the way it is. That's why when you see the 8th seed LA Kings win the championship, it doesn't matter where you're seated. It matters how you're playing and where you're playing, basically at the end of the season going in, because you want to be hot going in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw that a little bit with Syracuse this year. They kind of limped into the playoffs a little bit, and they got bounced early. And sometimes those 8 seeds have to push so hard to get in there at the top of their game in the last 3 or 4 weeks going into the season, and so they carry that into the first series. And you just never know. That's what's awesome about it. And some teams in the NHL, their teams don't make it, so you get players back, and you just never know. And that's why you play the games, right? And watch the kids out there compete and work hard. And, you lay it out there and see what happens.
You and I kind of agreed about the Stars when it came to the triple overtime game, but talk a little bit about that triple overtime game, because I've said many, many times that when a team wins a game, a triple overtime game, a double overtime game, especially in the playoffs, obviously only in the playoffs anymore with all the shootouts and everything that we have now in the game, but when they win those, it is a confidence builder. It's something that really can help drive a team. Now, of course, to make myself look like a fool, Hartford comes back and wins that next game 2-1 on Tuesday, but still, it is something that does change players when they do play that deep. When you play almost 2 full games, it really does affect a player.
Well, it does, and you understand that you can play the right way and get rewarded, and that's basically what we did that night. Is both goalies were terrific. Both teams had really good scoring chances, and every overtime. I would say we had a couple more than them, but not by a huge margin, and goaltending was stout, and we came out with the victory. And so, yeah, young players that we have on our team, they say, listen, yeah, we can play the right way and get rewarded. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to, sell the farm to get an offensive scoring chance. To play the right way, you bear down, you wait for a mistake, and you capitalize. And, that is the confidence you talk about. We had a good start to the game, the following game. Mm-hmm. I think we outshot them like 8-2 in the first period, played very well in the first period, didn't get rewarded. They made a nice play on a goal in the start the second, and their confidence, you speak about confidence, their confidence from there took off, and they were a different team from that point on, and they went on to the victory. So confidence is a huge thing that ebb and flows in these series, and Butch, the guy I work with, the head coach here in Providence, talks about it. It's how you react to adversity is what, gets you over the hump or not. And, we got beat last game in a game that was an elimination game, and, we didn't deliver. And how do we react? We react strongly and positively. We have a good chance tomorrow. If we don't, well, then Hartford we'll skate away with it. And that's the playoffs, right? How do you react to adversity?
Well, without a doubt. So when you go into a game 5, and I hate 5-game series, I'll be honest with you. Come on. I just think you get the best out of both teams if you get to play 7 games. But obviously we can't change that now. I mean, it is here. This is what you guys do. So what is the mindset? What's the message to your players going into Friday night's game?
It's just going to be go out and lay it on the line and let the chips fall where they may. We're not going to play kitty by the door. We're not going to, we've got to this point all year by attacking, having an attack mentality, and, playing to win, and, pinching pucks and skating and high pace, and we're just going to try to play that same way. We're not going to, try to change our game or, maybe an adjustment here or there, but, the mindset of our players to play to win and not to keep it close and not to not lose. So just get out there, play to win, and see what happens. Now, we've had game 5 each of the last 2 seasons in the first round, and, we basically played like that in those games and got away with it and won. But like I said, a bounce here or there changes everything, and so you just hope you go out and you play assertive brand of hockey and you get a good bounce and you get the lead and then, take it home from there.
Now, obviously, we're probably going to see Jan Denis for the Hartford Wolfpack, but you guys have 2 really good goaltenders to kind of choose from. Not to, obviously, tell us right now and everything, but how do you guys make that decision? How do you and Coach Cassidy, come down and go, okay, Jeremy, Malcolm, and make that decision? How do you guys do that?
Well, that's a difficult decision because they've both played extremely well.
Yeah.
This whole season and especially in this series. So the decision comes down to, who's fresh, and, having 2 days off between who's fresh is, there's really no difference there because everyone's going to be fresh for this game, I believe. It just comes down to a gut. I think it comes down to a gut with Butch and who he likes in terms of, composure and confidence and who's playing well, and both guys are playing well, so I think it's just going to come down to a gut feeling.
You got a guy on that team that I like a lot. His name is Colin Stewart. He's obviously a veteran. He's been on the Power Play Post show here, and I've watched him play over the years and everything. How important is it to have a guy like him, on the team? You were a guy very similar to him, where you played very hard, and but the communication between probably you and Colin Stewart to the rest of the younger teammates is obviously very important.
It is, and Colin's a very steady as she goes guy.
Yeah.
Never gets too high, never gets too low, and that's important this time of year. Like you talk about, how do you react? To adversity, and Colin, approaches every day, every game, every shift pretty much the same way, and I think in the long run that really balances itself out and really, works in our favor, and having a guy like that just kind of steady as she goes, play the same way every shift, go out there. I think that goes a long way, especially with young kids.
Tell me what you guys think Alexander Kolchev needs to, really make that next step in so Boston knows that he's legit and that he, has that chance of making the NHL full time. What does he have to do? Is there something here in the playoffs that he needs to kind of show up and do as well?
No, he's been terrific in the playoffs, and he was terrific last year.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander's game, whether he plays the NHL or not, it's going to come down to just the details in it. Defensive positioning, defensive posture, turning his back to the puck, just little things like that. He competes as hard as anyone, and he's like we're talking earlier in this conversation about being young kids and their excitement. He is that guy, and it's fun to watch him. He's infectious, actually, to watch when he gets excited. And so for him, it's going to be the details. Boston's, like I said, it's a deep lineup. They predicate their team on team defense, and he's going to have to buy into, the defense first mentality when you don't have the puck, and then, when you have the puck, attack. And he's got that part down. He just needs a little bit, he's a young kid, just needs to understand that, defense when you don't have the puck is the priority.
If you guys finish out tomorrow night and Worcester makes a comeback on Hershey, round 3 for the second round of the playoffs between you and Wilkes-Barre. I mean, I want to say it because I wanted to bring it up because I want to get your response, because round 3, basically, you guys would have to go and beat them. You would have to.
Yeah, we would, and it would be a fun series. A lot of respect for how they play and our coach and everything, and I always welcome a good series. I think at this time of year, every series is a good series. We only saw them twice this year, so I don't have a great feel for their team. Like we did last year, I think we saw them 4 times. But it'd be fun. It's always fun to go down there. It's a great environment to play. I'm sure they like to come to Providence because we have a good environment, and those series, you build a little rivalry and some bad blood. And that's fun. It's fun to watch.
Well, there's definitely been a little bit of that bad blood between you guys and Wilkes-Barre, so there's a part of me that's kind of pushing for that series, just so we could not necessarily see the bad blood and the hits that we've seen in the past, but just how the two teams react against each other and everything. But Coach Dean, good luck tomorrow night, obviously in Hartford. As a New York Rangers fan, I'm so very torn about who I want to win in that game, but because you're on the show, I'm going to say I want you to win because, well, and personally, you guys have been great to us here on the Power Play Post Show, the Providence Bruins and the players that have come on, and you, Coach, over the past couple seasons coming on and just talking with us. So I want you guys to win anyways, and Hartford, the Rangers are going to go all the way. So this is the way I look at it. Hartford doesn't need to win.
If the big team does well, right? That's enough, right?
Right, exactly. For me, this is how I look at it, fans. This is Providence Bruins fans. If you're listening right now, this is the honest to God and truth. If the Rangers win the Cup this year because they lost to the LA Kings last year, I'm okay. Providence can go as far as they want. I'm okay with it. So,
we appreciate that,
Coach. Good luck tomorrow night, and I hope to talk to you more in the future.
All right, thank you very much.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the.
Thanks for listening to this Power Play Post Show interview exclusive. Remember to join Bob and Megan every Thursday night for an all-new edition of the Power Play Post Show.